We will open it up for questions.
Seems like a great chance for people that love to compete. You go up against the number one scorer in the league Thursday. You go up against the best rebounder in the history of the league on Saturday. A couple of hot teams. How does that strike you guys as players?
It's exciting. We get a chance to test our defense once again against one of the top players in the Big Sky, and then again on Saturday with Ball and Boy.
Casey, how do you like going up against him? You've done it a few times.
Yeah, I definitely like going against good competition. It makes me feel like I have to rise above what I've been playing at and definitely match them. So I like it.
You've gone against a lot of pretty solid bigs this season so far. How has that prepared you, for bigs as the season's rolled along?
He's just as good as any of them. I'm just gonna have to play hard, play good defense on him.
Last year, Trey and Casey, this was a game that both teams, I know, saying we were saying, was one that seemed to get your guys' season rolling. Does that give you guys any kind of added confidence heading into them this weekend?
We're heading into a road trip right now, and we want to go and win. We do have confidence. We have all the confidence in the world, and I think this would be a good place to start the rest of the season.
I mean, yeah, we won last year, but it's a whole new season, so we know we're gonna face some new challenges. But we're still excited to get down there and compete against them.
What does this road trip mean going forward into the season?
Hopefully we can start it off with a win and let's continue from there. Keep them coming.
Coach, the last two games here at home, you didn't pick up a victory, but what did you learn about your teams in those games?
In each game, we played extremely well for 20 minutes. The first half versus Northern Colorado, and the second half versus North Dakota. In the Big Sky right now, anything can happen on any night. And, for us, it didn't go our way this past weekend, but Casey said, we got a lot of confident guys who have been in this situation before at this time in the year, headed on the road. And so I think we're all excited to take the positives out of last week, learn from, some of the improvements that we need to make, and put them all into Thursday night.
You guys had, as you mentioned, 20 good minutes in each of those games. How do you put those together and try and get a full 40-minute game?
We've made some minor adjustments today with our rotation, with some positions. But like we talked about last week, we got a lot of experience on this team. Ultimately, we've got to get the game plan fine-tuned tomorrow, and then we got to come out and execute that game plan. And so yeah, it's another week in the Big Sky, and we'll see what happens.
Will Thursday's matchup be an offensive or a defensive battle?
I think both. There's individuals on both teams that have scored a lot of points. Both teams collectively at times have scored a lot of points. Both teams have their deficiencies defensively as well as their strengths. So from our perspective, we want to go in, execute offensively, and we want to give it 100% defensively. And, if the game takes us into a defensive battle, then so be it. If not, well, let's go offensive battle and see if we can win.
Is Coach Evans still playing some matchup zone?
Yes.
And
I'm not sure that'll ever leave him.
What's the attack plan against that? Because it seems to confuse a bunch of teams.
It's something that we've had a really good attack plan headed into the game. The staff does a great job of preparing us, and we've made some wrinkles offensively in terms of what we've done in the past. But like the question, we've got to attack. We've got to share the ball, and each individual on the court has to be prepared to make good, quick decisions.
Coach, when you look at Idaho State and Weber State as a whole this weekend, what really sticks out to you about both those teams?
They're both ahead of us in the standings. So that's what sticks out to me. They're both tough, physical teams, but that's no different than any other night in the Big Sky. So, like Casey and Trey said, we got to come out, compete, match their intensity, and play hard.
For you two, do the standings and where you're at right now worry you at all? Do you even pay attention?
Of course we pay attention. We pay attention to all the standings. Doesn't necessarily worry us. I think it adds to the, excitement, and we just know every time we step into the gym that we have an opportunity to get better and come out and improve our performance from our last outing.
Play man defense against their Idaho State's guy, this leading scorer.
Yeah, we'll mix it up defensively. He's a relatively creative player, but we faced a couple of guys that are similar, in their abilities. He's just unique a little bit in what he does, but, we've seen guys that are, similar to him, non-conference, in league. We've just got to step up to the challenge.
For the guys, Weaver State, an in-state rival, does that game mean anything more to you guys?
Definitely. It's a rivalry game in our eyes, so that adds to it. But we know we just need some wins.
Casey, same feeling?
Yeah, same feeling. I believe in-state games are some of the most fun games to me, but same, we just need to win and do what we do best.
What is the environment like there in Ogden?
It gets rowdy. It's loud up there. A lot of purple. And they don't like us, especially after the last 2 years, the last couple of meetings.
Yeah, you guys have had obviously a good game plan. You swept them last year against basically the same crew. So, not a lot of surprises for you, Coach?
It's no year.
Yeah.
We'll have our work cut out for us being on the road, but there will definitely be a lot of emotion involved, and each side will have made adjustments from our previous meetings, but it'll be an exciting game.
So during this weekend, do you get to work specifically on a game plan with Weber, or are you focused on Idaho State until that game's over?
Yeah, right now we're focused on Idaho State, and then we'll watch film and focus on the game plan versus Weber on Friday.
How is preparation in between those 2 days? Because you have that whole week preparing for Thursdays, and you don't have that much time for Saturday. How different is that?
Well, we like to spend a lot of time on Southern Utah, Monday and Tuesday. We'll, put in, some work on our opponent for Thursday on Tuesday. But, most of our preparation goes in on Wednesday for our opponents, and then we get back to refocusing on us on game day.
Anything else for this group? Perfect. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. All right. Well, Coach, a couple meets on the docket this weekend. Got the distance team with us here tonight, but what's the game plan going into this weekend?
Well, the people we want to put the power events in NAU, because that's typically, they're going to face Arizona State, Arizona there, and that's pretty much where they're going to find their best competition. When you try to run at 7,000 feet, it's really difficult to try to establish, any kind of qualifying mark. So to go to Seattle into the Pac-12 with Oregon and Washington, all the top schools, and put these guys and gals in a situation where they could potentially run PRs is really pretty much, the whole plan, the game plan this weekend. And so we have people here in the program right now that are ready to have huge breakthroughs, both in the 5, the 3, and the mile. And so the game plan is to get in there and put these athletes in the right position to be able to perform well, and then the sprinters and the power events in NAU to be able to see their best possible competition.
Coach, when you select meets, what intrigues you about going up to Seattle for this UW invite?
Oregon, Stanford, UCLA, that they're the power schools, and to be able to go there and first qualify for the meet speaks volume of the type of athletes we have, and then to put them in a situation where they're going to race well is the goal. I said it before. It might be a crazy analogy, but they're like racehorses. If you race your horses before the Kentucky Derby in slow races, you're not going to get the best out of them. So you've got to be able to put them in the best competition to challenge them, and then to back them off, and then to challenge them again, and that's where you get your best performances out of athletes that have been trained, I believe, correctly.
Hayden, attending this meet every year, have you felt yourself grow based on going up against those big schools that Coach Will was talking about?
Yeah, for sure. I've ran a personal best, every single time that I've gone to Washington. It's a meet where you can go and you can, really, run fast, run with the top competition. And so, yeah, I really like the meet. It's a fun trip for the team, and it's a great opportunity to go run, some fast times.
Mike, given past performances, looking at last year, you were very close to that 4-minute mile there. How much does past performances at a specific meet boost your confidence coming into the next year?
I think it boosts my confidence quite a bit. Just going in and knowing what to expect, and knowing the track and knowing the atmosphere will help me a lot this upcoming weekend to hopefully finally get under that 4-minute barrier and check that off my resume, I guess. So it helps a lot going there previous years and just knowing who's going to be there, knowing that it's going to be a fast race, and I don't have to worry about the pace lagging in the middle of the race. Excuse me, and I can just kind of get in line and just let the train pull me to a fast time.
Is that your main goal going in here, try and get as close, if not under that 4-minute?
Definitely
mark?
the goal is to break 4. That is the number one goal.
Ashley, for you, you're a senior now.
Mm-hmm.
A couple years back, what was your first impressions when you went to a meet where you had so many big schools like that?
I guess the first time I was probably a little nervous, but I trusted Coach and knew what he was doing, that he knew what he was doing, and it was actually amazing because the first time I remember going up to Washington, I rose and I ran a lot faster than I ever thought I could, and so it's so fun to go to these meets and be able to see that happen.
Coach, looking at this year as a whole, your distance team is coming off of a Big Sky, the men's side at least, coming off of a Big Sky championship. How do you expect that to really motivate them into the indoor and outdoor track and field season?
Well, we've balanced the scales a little in the distance. Typically NAU dominates, and they'll be up there again in the indoor and the outdoor season. But we are obviously a major factor now, and that coupled now with the throwers we bring off red shirts and the sprinters we've signed and have now racing for us, I think it just gives us all confidence. Having one of the top teams in the country, as one of your strengths, and then bring in some powerful sprinters and throwers. I think we may not win that conference title, but we're going to be in the battle, and sometimes that's the victory, in some years. So, but it will be. I think we will contend at least in the indoor, or at least in the outdoor, if not the indoor.
Go ahead.
I want to change it off just a little bit. Hayden, you received the All-American at Nationals for cross country. Excuse me. What's next Now that you've accomplished that, what's your next goal?
Well, my next goal is to get All-American in indoor and All-American in outdoor as well. You know, I know that I can run with the top guys. You know, going into Washington and stuff, we've kind of talked about the big competition. Well, you know, for cross country, we ran and beat a lot of the big competition. You know, we're not afraid of the big competition because we know that we can run with them. You know, we can beat them. You know, I was able to, you know, get that All-American spot, which was a great honor for me. It was my goal for the whole cross-country season, but I'm not stopping there. You know, my goal now is to get, like I said, All-American in indoor, All-American in outdoor, but I take it step by step. You know, the first thing is to qualify, and that's kind of the goal, you know, for this week and the next couple weeks to come is to hit a qualifying mark for the indoor national championship. I guess the cool thing about it too is I served a mission in Alabama, Birmingham, and the indoor national championship is in Birmingham, Alabama this year. So it'd be really cool, you know, to be able to do that. You know, that'd just be a plus of qualifying for nationals for indoor. So,
Coach, is it hard to get these guys to transition from cross country to indoor?
No, we have different phases, and so, you know, once we're done with the one competitive phase, we go into a building phase, and then we start the process all over again. And so it's what's really, you know, what's critical sometimes is picking the right races and, you know, the right events for them to get them to the point, you know, where you want them at the end of the season. You know, if you want them running under 14 minutes, if you want them running under 4 minutes, what events should you do prior to that and stuff. So, and then finding that right competition is, and part of this whole process is you may be the best athlete in an event, but if it's the first time you've met this competition, the first time you've raced against these big schools, you're more wrapped up into what's on someone's chest than the opportunity that lies before you. And so a Washington meet like this and the other meets we go to helps to you know, accomplish that one task, or, you know, accomplish that for us and set the stage.
Is there any way, Coach, that you prepare your younger athletes to not pay attention to what's on the other runner's chest, or is it just throw them out there and they learn that way?
Well, yeah, and because we've been going there, so it's not the first time that we're there, so it's just part of the team culture. They're trying now to make the travel squad to Washington, and so they know what's in store for them, so they're working at these other meets to try to hit those qualifying marks to get accepted into these bigger meets. And I think just by that, the way that culture of the team is, the first time it's scary, but after that it's really, they realize that they're just as good. So,
Coach, when you watch the men prepare for this season, the distance squad in particular, do you notice them practicing any differently, more confidently because of what they accomplished in the cross-country season?
yeah, I think there's a sense of confidence. I mean, you bring recruits in, and they know more about the team than sometimes the team knows about themselves, you know, with the internet and stuff, and the fact that, you know, we're one of the top teams in the country and the state, which is important to us because that's where our recruiting base is. And so you can just sense it, you know, in their training that, you know, and they know that we try to elevate the performance each year with the workouts that we do. We keep track of what the last performance was, you know, what the weather was like, and that in itself builds confidence too. So, you know, there comes a point where it's a tipping point where, you know, it's just really all them. You know, they have that confidence and that belief in themselves, and there's no going back. You know, and it's just being able to keep the recruits coming in, you know, to keep that going.
My coach said that sometimes those recruits come in knowing more about you guys than you do. How do you guys just kind of keep that out? You know, just focus on your individual performances and not get too caught up in what you guys accomplished in cross country or in past years.
You just gotta remember that it's all a process, and that, like, yeah, in the past it's great to have a Big Sky championship under our belt, but to want more and to keep progressing and improving on ourselves. And with the recruits, we have recruits in almost every week, so it's almost just kind of like we're used to it now, and we know what we're gonna do with the recruits, and it's just kind of a normal occurrence. So it's not so strange that it catches us off guard, and that we're kind of ready for it, I guess.
Ashley, going into this meet, what kind of goals do you have up at Seattle?
This week I'd just like to get out there. I'm running the 5K this weekend, and so I just like to get out there and run a good 5K, and hopefully run a PR this weekend and get close to that outdoor PR and use it as a good springboard for the rest of the year. So
In like let's take last year for example. Do you find these meets, these bigger meets early on in the indoor season, they really do help you springboard into the outdoor season?
Oh, definitely. Like we were talking before, getting up with this competition and stuff, you have to race against the best competition to become better and to, like coach's racehorse analogy, just we have to be racing against that competition to get us ready for those bigger championship meets later on down the road.
All right, anything
Cool
else?
thing too, the cool thing just to add to all that, you know, not only what these guys are accomplished, but this is an Olympic year. So it's going to be crazy fast across this country. And right now we stand to potentially have alumni and people that are in the program right now, potentially have 12 people qualify for Olympic trials in different countries. And so when you talk about Southern Utah and what's possible, the fact that this is possible for us, not to mention we've already had a guy there, I mean, it's going to be it's going to be an exciting year. It may not pan out to be much, but it potentially can pan out to be a lot. I know one thing: we'll definitely have one guy there at the Olympics, you know, and we have other people that are knocking on the door, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Coach, do you see more interest in your sport during, like, leading up to the Olympics and after?
Oh yeah, yeah, because you know, all of the world. I mean, when you think about it, number one audience sport in this world is what? Soccer. Number two that people don't know is track and field. And so the whole world opens up to track and field during the Olympic year. And you know, I was in the stadium in 2012. In 15 sessions of track and field, 80,000 people, over 1 million people watched track and field just in the stadium, not to mention worldwide. And so there's always that interest because world records are going to be set, performances are going to be, you know, it's a team thing. You know, it's America against Russia, Russia against, you know, China, and so it's a world. It's truly a world championship. And so yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. Not to mention too, we'll have coaches potentially coaching athletes in the Olympic Games that were graduates and great throwers here that are now at K-State and NAU, and so it's going to be a kind of a fun year to see how things play out.
All right, anything else for these guys? Perfect.
Thanks so much.
Fire away questions whenever you're ready, guys.
Jamie, you guys are coming off of another loss where you guys had the lead, and then in the fourth quarter just got away from you guys. What are the frustrations like for you guys after that's happened now twice in a row?
It's kind of frustrating just because I know we have the abilities to hold leads. We just aren't right now. It's kind of weird because we're not flowing as well as we'd like at certain points in the game, which is affecting us at the end, so we're not pulling through. So it's frustrating. I think with the next, we have 11 games left, and I think we'll be able to figure it out and hopefully pull out a big run of games where we can, make a big run before the conference tournament.
Just out of curiosity, what did they change up on you guys in the fourth quarter that it looked like they just defenses you guys struggled to score there in the fourth? What did they do differently, or did they do anything differently on you guys?
I wouldn't say they did anything differently. I just think we pulled ourselves out of the game. We weren't being as aggressive as we were in the first half. We weren't sticking to game plan 100%, which really affects us because when we stick to the game plan Coach gives us, we do really well. But we didn't stick to it, and they were able to get some points, and we had a lot of turnovers, and it just kind of got out of hand.
Donna, for you, what's been probably the toughest part about this season as it's gone so far?
Well, being a senior, I wish we had more winning record. That's probably the toughest, but I'm happy with the way we're playing. Like, yeah, we have a few things here or there that need to be fixed, but overall, compared to last year, like just the attitude and stuff and everything is just completely different, and I love this team a lot better.
For you, Donna, looking at last year to this year, you've gotten a lot more minutes. You've played you were in the starting lineup against North Dakota. How has that felt to be able to get back on the court and be able to play a lot more than you were last year?
It feels really good because it just shows like all of my hard work that I put into the sport is paying off, and Coach is recognizing it, and I am very appreciative of it because, yeah, my heart and love for the game is showing. So,
Jamie, when Donna's on the court, what does she bring to you to the five on the court when she's on there with you guys?
At the first of the year, we were given kind of traits that our coach thought we could bring to the floor. She was given competitive greatness, which I truly believe she embodies completely. She always is the one hustling for rebounds, loose balls. She's first one down the floor, so we know who to push it to in transition. It's just, she does all the little things, the dirty work, so we like that.
Watching you, Donna, play, it seems like one thing you do well is get rebounds. What's the trick for you to getting in there and, as Jamie said, do the dirty work, get physical down in the paint to try and get a rebound?
Well, that's what I love to do. I like to battle down in the post area, and I kind of know like the angles at which like the shots are gonna come off, and so I kind of just like anticipate it more or less, and that's how I end up getting a lot of rebounds. So.
For you, transferring a couple of years ago from, what was it, College of DuPage?
Yeah.
To here, what was that transition like for you?
It was really hard. It was a completely different like cultural shock because growing up like in the suburb city area, there's a lot of noise. I live by an airport, so I have the planes constantly. I have trains, and to come here and it was so quiet and like peaceful. I really do love it. It was really hard for me to sleep at first for the first couple weeks, so I had to like make my own little noises. But overall, I'm really glad I did come here, and it was just good choice.
Do you have a preference, having a big city or a smaller city that you prefer?
Yeah, I really miss Chicago, so I'm really excited to go back after I graduate. I just miss having a lot of like different like stores and stuff around and different like places to eat, and so yeah, I would prefer a bigger city then. So.
Jamie, you had mentioned that you guys you're there. You feel like you guys are there, and that you're hoping to try and push for a big run at the end of the season. Is it tough to kind of keep that optimistic attitude given what's happened so far this season?
Yeah, I think it would be a lot harder if we didn't kind of all have the belief that we can do it. I mean, I think the whole team knows that we're really close and we're all there. Which just we need one more push at the end of the game or one more push at the start. And it really helps because I don't feel like Coach B's given up on us, which is really important because from what I've heard, what happened last year, it was kind of a totally different situation. I feel like everyone's bought in this year, which is really important for us, and hopefully this will have a big run coming up these next 11 games.
For both of you, Donna being a senior, you being a junior, even though you guys might not have been here as long at the school, how do you guys help the freshmen continue on to believe in that same mentality that you guys have?
Well, because they're going to be growing up with each other for 4 years, so I just try and tell them, like, look, you're going to be playing with each other for 4 years, you guys will be really good, get to know each other's weaknesses, greatnesses, and try and, like, exploit those the best you can. Just trying to keep a, happier attitude towards it, and just kind of giving some personal experiences, stories to them, like, like, hey, don't do this, try and do that and stuff. So hopefully that will help them.
Talk about the development as you see it of your freshmen, your own players. How are they doing so far this year?
They've all stepped up really well, especially Dari. She, as you can tell, like, she just got more physical and is now starting and can get rebounds, so proud of her with that. And Bree, I know she gets a little frustrated on herself, but we can pull her out, and I can see her being a really great point guard considering how good she is now.
Yeah, I'm really proud of our freshmen. I feel like they've stepped up into a pretty big responsibility role. I mean, we only have 12 players, and I mean, we're battling through injuries throughout the year, and we're all tired, and I feel like they've really stepped up, being that they are so young, and a lot of people at big universities like this don't get this opportunity, so I think they're really filling that role, which is really important for us. So.
How much of an impact does coming home have on your momentum?
It has a big role, like, because we're playing at home, we gotta defend our home court. It's just, it's like the excitement level is so much higher, and we just want to play really well for our fans and for the community that comes and watch us, and we get really excited to play at home.
All right, Coach, welcome.
Thank you.
Coach, a couple home games this week. Rival coming in. How do you see this weekend?
Huge weekend for a lot of reasons. Number one, just great to be back home and have the chance to play in front of our home fans in our kind of natural environment and be comfortable with that. Very important week because the time is right where we need to, if we're going to make a play in seeding for the tournament, we need to start putting together some games and get some wins. So very important for us, and the opportunity at home gives us that opportunity. And you can't ask for any more than to play your rival, Weber State, on Saturday, and Idaho State is kind of a rival in its own right for different reasons, and so we're excited to have both those teams coming in at home and opportunity to turn things around for us with those two teams. So we're excited about it.
Coach, when you look back at your coaching experience that you've had, have you had a season that's been kind of gone a similar way that this one has gone?
I was a part of a 4-22, 4-24 season at Utah Valley, but we had just transitioned from a junior college to Division I, and a lot of similarities in the fact that we had a young team, hadn't experienced playing at that level before, and playing a lot of games on the road. So there were a lot of similarities in that. The one thing that is different from this team to that one is this. Even though we started off 0-7 and only have 3 wins, it doesn't feel like that. Every day in practice, every game as we prepare, it feels like, you know, we're battling. We're in that 500 range, or you're just trying to get a little bit better, and so in that respect, it feels different, but a lot of the coaching experiences are the same, and trying to just get the experience that the players need to get over the hump. North Dakota was a game that we woulda, coulda, shoulda won, and execution and experience down the stretch on the road in front of a good crowd, against a team that executes pretty well, that has seniors on the team. Just we let some things slip away and didn't do what we needed to. That was tough. So I'm hoping at home that we can get that, and sometimes just getting that first win, you know, changes a whole lot of execution things, confidence things, and the ability to roll off a few in a row. So hoping that starts for us this week.
Going back to that season, I had nothing better to do, so I looked it up. Like you said, a lot of roster similarities there. I believe it said 7 freshmen on that team. What do you, when you think of that season, do you use some of those things that you learned as an assistant coach at UVU to kind of help you work through this season?
Yeah, no question. Having experienced it, I think there were times in that season where our players felt and lacked the confidence, and there were a lot of different things that we emotionally didn't connect or lead the players in the right way as they were continuing to get better, but they were so focused on the wins and losses versus measuring where we are. So we've done a really good job of being able to focus on those things and the progress that we're making. We continue to talk about the conference tournament, what a huge opportunity it is to go and play, and just getting hot for 3 days and in 3 games, you know, gives you a chance. So we have a lot to play for, and pulling on that experience, both X and O wise, emotionally, on an emotional level, as well as just being prepared for that this year, knowing that we had a younger team. I didn't think that we'd be in the situation we're in, but I knew that we would have to, as a coaching staff, prepare ourselves to teach and be patient through the process, and so far the girls are responding great to it and working hard through it, and the experience they're gaining is really exciting for the future as well.
How do you, both the girls had mentioned that coming into this week they still feel optimistic, you know, they still are looking at the 11 games instead of what's happened. How do you keep that optimism up in this team?
Well, number one is they work really hard, and they're progressing every day and every week. So it's easy to have things to build on. But number two is we as a program are in this for the long haul. And we talk about the success and the history of women's basketball at Southern Utah University, and hasn't been established and maintained. There's been winning seasons and great players, but it tends to drop back off. And our ultimate goal is to build a program that sustains for a long time. And in order to do that, you have to establish a culture. And so we as a team are committed to establishing that culture. You know, wins and losses aren't going to take away from what we're doing. And so it's easy to continue to work on that culture and the important things that eventually, if that culture is sustained and built, the wins end up coming. And we're very optimistic and hopeful that it's this week and this season that we get on a run and they start to come. But great thing about having, you know, leaders like Donna and Emma and Ashley, juniors like Jamie and Jessica, is they're committed and want to leave their legacy is here as well. And so they're with their leadership and the way that they approach every day in practice, teams that I've been on that have had winning seasons and losing seasons, January, February, March sometimes is an easy time to check out. And you got better things or other things on your mind, and it's sad when that happens. And the commitment level of these girls is very amazing and exciting and easy to coach.
Changing gears a little bit now, Coach, looking at some of the numbers, Donna's gotten a little bit of an increase in playing time. What have you seen in her that has warranted her getting her on the court a little bit more?
Donna knows this as well, that when she's consistent with her toughness, that's something that our team needs to show more frequently within rebounding, defensive toughness. When she makes those type of plays, it's rewarded with more minutes. And it's tough being in her position where you don't know how many minutes you're going to get every game, and sometimes you come out just a little bit less aggressive, or somebody else steps up and plays great and it takes away some minutes for you. But every time that I put Donna in, I expect a certain level of play, and she continues to feel more comfortable in that role and continues to show that aggressiveness and make plays. And so I project that Donna's just going to continue to increase minutes. And the great thing about Donna is she, both the 3 position and the 4 position, we had her learn both throughout this year, and she's got to the point where it doesn't matter where I put her, Donna's just going to go out and work hard and do what she needs to do. So really proud of her and excited for her to finish her senior year the next couple months with more minutes and solid play.
You mentioned her playing in the 4 position. Has it helped? Has it helped in trying to fill that void that Emma had left on the court?
Yeah, no question, because she, like I said, she brings a different level of physicality, and Emma had a level of toughness with her as well. Donna matches and probably is a little bit tougher in some situations in that, and so even though she might be a little bit undersized, the girl's got a black belt in karate, so who's going to mess with her, right? And it's pretty exciting for us to be able to put her out there and know that she's not going to back down. She's going to stand for what we need our team to do.
Last question. You mentioned the situations that you want her in. What are those situations, the best situations to have her in on the court?
The way we utilize Donna the best is when she has an offensive rebounding mentality. Her quickness is a hard matchup for bigs, and so when we can put her at the 4 and she has that quick step on people, it's a huge benefit. She has the mid-range jump shot that she can hit, but more than anything, when Donna has the mindset of offensively being aggressive and attacking the basket, especially on the offensive rebound things, teams have it's just a tough matchup for her. Defensively as well, she can use her quickness and her toughness to, even against North Dakota, there's times she's on the 6'6" girl, and they were trying to post her up with Mia Lloyd, and Donna just positioned herself well. And when she's focused and in tune to the game plan and what we need to do, don't lack any confidence in her abilities to play the position we need her to play. And most of the time, when we have 4s or 3s that are not being as physical or as aggressive, I need Donna to go in and just make a statement and show some toughness for our team.
All right, anything else for this group?
Yeah, Coach, I've heard these players and a couple other players in the last couple of weeks say the same thing. This would be a lot harder season, or be easier to give up if Coach B doesn't give up on us. Do you make it a point in practice to show them you haven't given up and to be open about the fact you still have optimism?
Not today in practice, huh? most days I tell them I love them and how great they are, and today we had a little extra running, and they probably don't think that I love them very much today. But I don't know if I have to make a point of it, but I truly believe in what we're building here, and I truly believe in the players and their abilities and the opportunities that we have. And so I hope it comes out naturally in what we talk about, and that they understand and know that I'm optimistic because I know their talent level. I'm optimistic because I know what we stand for and what we're trying to build as a program. And so there have been, like I said, situations or teams where as a coach as well, I haven't felt and been optimistic and teams have probably been able to notice that as well. But for this one, I really do believe that I believe in what we're building, and I'm excited about the progress of it. So I hope they feel that, and maybe I do need to put that on my checklist, the to-do list every day, is to make sure they know that. But hopefully it comes out in our coaching style, and it's, you know, from the heart that we really do believe in them. And sometimes in some teams you can't tell them you love them every day, because there's a lot of things that go on that get you frustrated and angry. But this is a great group of girls to coach with and to work with, and so I hope they do know that we appreciate and love them, and expect great things from them.
Thanks. All right, anything else? Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Coach, you got 3 meets under your belt now, 3 weeks into the season. What have you learned about this team?
I've learned that they're very tough, very scrappy team. We still have a lot of work to do throughout the rest of the year, but I can see the progress every day in these guys. So I'm not worried about anything. I think we're right where we need to be, but we've just got to stop counting major errors. We know the little ones will be there, but we've got to stop counting the big ones, the falls.
Speaking of that,
Pardon me?
Bars routine is not your best friend over the past 2 weeks. Are you increasing practice more on just bars, or are you kind of keeping it equal as you go?
No, we've upped our numbers on bars. A lot.
A lot.
Yeah. Haven't we?
Yep.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of bars the last few days. And not just doing a lot of bars just to do bars, but we've been really focusing on the quality of our bars. So those two things, when you're really focused on quality and you give them or you have 3 985 bar routines to do today, that can take 3 turns or it can take 8. It's up to them on that given day. So we try to keep it as minimal as we can, particularly for the all-arounders, because we kind of work them pretty hard. But you know, for the most part, we have pretty high expectations. So, and we're pretty tough on them judging wise. So there's a lot of routines being done right now, particularly on Monday.
What's their atmosphere like up at Utah State?
You know, the Spectrum is very much like the Centrum. They have some very, I mean, everybody gives us a hard time because our fans are very enthusiastic, and I love that. I don't want a quiet, you know, golf crowd out there. You know, I want this Division I athletics. You know, but their crowd is very enthusiastic too. They can get pretty rowdy sometimes, and it's great. And we, you know, as long as everybody keeps it respectful down there, it works out great. But it's a fun atmosphere to compete in. The Spectrum's a wonderful arena.
For the ladies, I mean, you guys play in front of a pretty good crowd at home every week. How does that prepare you for seeing big crowds on the road?
Well, for me, I don't let it get to me really. When I'm away, I don't pay attention to the crowds or any of that. I just focus in on the gymnastics. And when I'm at home, it's more of, I know the people in the stands, so it's like I'm doing it for them, whereas away, I'm doing it for my team too, mainly. But
Mad?
Yeah, I agree. I think that our team has a lot of energy and that we boost each other up with that energy. And so whether we're home or away, we know we've got each other's back and that we're able to compete at the same level.
How are you guys feeling about the team at this point of the season? 3 meets in, going back on the road. How do you guys feel as a unit?
I think we've started off pretty good. We've obviously had a few errors, but I think that as a team we've worked really well together, and we're preparing ourselves for later in the season. We've had some mistakes, but those are things that we can fix. So,
as you guys progress, what level are you at right now for progression?
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
You know what? Right now, we're doing a lot of new skills, a lot of new gymnastics with this team, and typically when you do that, when you insert that much new stuff into your lineups, you're going to go through some growing pains. I think right now we're coming out of those, and we're solidifying in our routines and our skills even more throughout the season. A lot of times when you do something new and you do it in front of a crowd for the first time, it's very different. And you change subtle little things about it, and it'll mess you up just enough to maybe miss a bar or cast over or something. Please forgive me. But you know, I think we're right where we need to be. These errors truly were kind of almost expected, but not for long.
You always talk about not wanting your team to peak too early. Is this kind of where you expected they would be at this point in the season?
Yes, there's no question about it. We drove some of our athletes very hard through the preseason. We really wanted to give Utah a good run for their money when they came down here, and we wanted to put some real serious pressure on them going into the last event. So we pushed some of our athletes pretty hard. And when you do that and you come out of the season really up on top, you're going to go through a little bit of a lull as you go through the season, but then you build right back up right at the end of the season perfectly. It's tricky to peak your team twice throughout a 3-month season, but it's doable, but it's tricky, and you know, we weren't able to effectively put that pressure on Utah when they came here because we knew that was going to be a sold-out crowd. So we that's all we needed to do. We just needed to hit our routines, and but you know, as it was, we didn't put the pressure on them. So now we've got to build our team back up to where they need to be in late February and early March.
Tyler, from an individual standpoint, how are you feeling at this point of the season, and how do you feel like it's gone for you individually?
I've definitely made mistakes, but those mistakes have made it to the point where I'm really focusing on the details in my gymnastics and trying to solidify that part of it so that those mistakes don't happen anymore.
Kylie, with on the bars, is it kind of, what's the mindset like when you guys are practicing for bars, given what's happened in the past 2 meets?
To just get up there and hit the way we know we can hit our routines. I mean, we're all good at bars. We all get up and are hitting our 3 routines or whatever at 9.85s within 4 turns, so we know we can do it. It's just a matter of putting it all together in competition.
And that'll come. She's right. They're killing it in the practice gym, so eventually that carries over to competition. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, you picked up the 9.9 a few weeks ago on floor. After the last meet, talking to Stacy and Danny, it seems like a lot of you guys are perfectionists. Is anything less than a 9.9 now kind of disappointing?
I think a lot more goes into the score than just that number, the 9.9. It depends on the judges in your gymnastics. So I just mostly focus on doing my best gymnastics every time, and if it's a good routine, I'm happy with it regardless of the score. But I definitely will set my standards higher now that I know that I'm capable of that.
Scotty, what makes Maddie such an effective floor worker?
Maddie is, Maddie has she's very tall for a gymnast, and that has a really certain look out there on the floor. Besides that, so sorry. Besides that, she has that floor routine down pretty well, and she does it effortlessly. So, she's a great performer, great tumbler, very high level stuff. So she's fun to watch. She's enjoyable. I think that's what sets her apart, really, truly.
Gymnast, can you tell a difference in your coach after a loss or a win? And what is
it? we won the last meet.
I know you did, but the week before you didn't. So what's the difference in practice? Can you tell?
Yeah, we did. But
come on, be honest. It's okay.
He's definitely a lot harder on us, but it pushes us to become better. Since he doesn't settle for anything less, we know that we shouldn't. So sometimes we do get, what's the right word? Yeah, sometimes he's hard on us, but it's all for good things to come.
I think I was a little nicer on him after last week's loss, than I've been after this week's win.
That's true.
So I mean, personally, I don't know. I mean, but at the same time, I'm hard on them one way or the other. It's whether they win or lose. I want their best gymnastics, and we haven't quite seen that yet. And so they're just gonna continue to be intense in that gym until they start getting on that roll that they're going to get on this weekend.
With preparation going week to week, is it possible before conference that you'll see the best gymnastics like a week or two before, or even earlier?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You'll see their best gymnastics for about a month there at the end.
When will it start? About what week?
They should really start around the middle of Friday. Friday through April 17th or 18th, whenever the nationals are. It just, there's a rhythm to this sport. It's like every other sport, and it's very hard to keep them at that right up here the entire time without ever seeing a hiccup in there. But we've hiccuped the last couple of meets, but you'll start seeing it. I have no doubt in this team. I have complete faith in them. They work hard. They work with intent every day. So there's no doubt it's going to happen.
Do you ever set a goal for a score going into a meet?
Never.
Never.
It's never about the score. And that's a good question because, sometimes you can go out and do 197 gymnastics in front of judges that have already kind of come to their own conclusion about how good your team is, and you might score 196, or you could go out there and do pretty good gymnastics in front of the judges that have never seen you before and think, wow, man, this seems really, really good, and you get better scores than sometimes you think you should. It all kind of evens out in the end, but it's because it's a judge sport. I mean, these aren't hard routines to judge. I've judged them thousands of times. I know what they should score. So, we know what we can score. It just depends on the judges that night, everything. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. But if you set a goal, like I want a 197, then it gets if they don't reach it, then it's kind of hard. If you set a 195 and it's too easy, then you're not shooting high enough. So I just want their best gymnastics. That's our only goal. No scores.
All right, anything else for these guys? Perfect. Thank you.
You didn't ask.
Questions going? Well, Coach, you guys open your season up this weekend. What have you seen from the ladies so far?
Boy, this is the hardest working group that I've seen in 15 years. we're braving the cold. We get out there at 30 degrees and we're hitting balls, and then 3 days a week they're in the weight room lifting weights, and I'm really excited about this team. I'm confident that they're going to be competitive, at least a lot more than last year. We're ready, right?
Right.
Okay, she's ready.
Are there any benefits to playing in such harsh weathers?
Pardon me?
Are there any advantages to playing in the harsh weather?
Yeah, I think it makes them tougher.
Yeah, I think because it's really cold outside, so and also it's very windy. So it's like when we play in very windy like matches and stuff, so it helps a lot.
This is
Thing.
supposed to be an outdoor sport, tennis, and so we take that to heart. We really do. And so we play in 30-degree, 35-degree weather, 20-mile-an-hour winds. So I think it toughens them up a little bit.
You
I
were
think-
probably used to that in Denver, huh?
Yeah, on the high altitude. Yeah.
How about Spain? Did you have harsh weather in Spain you played in?
The most hard point was like the altitude because I'm from an island,
Okay.
so here is like a very big difference.
Yeah.
But like helps a lot because it's much difficult here to play than in like for a big altitude. Like everything goes faster and faster out and stuff, so it helps me a lot.
And the ball flies a lot faster.
Yeah,
and
so I
they have to
can-
keep it in
Yeah.
the court.
Are there any tips that you learned from Spain that you brought to SUU playing
What?
tennis?
Wait, what? Sorry.
When playing tennis in Spain, are there any like tips that you learned over there that you're bringing over here?
Like playing tips.
Yes.
I don't know. Just like I just practice all my life in Spain, like in Europe. So it's like I think I don't know. Like
They
it's
like the
hard.
baseline game.
Yeah, like we learn a lot, like in Spain, like when you see Rafa Nadal, for
Yeah.
example, he plays like a lot like baseball, so we learn that a lot. And then, yeah, like here now I'm learning a lot myself, improving a lot myself. So
Yeah,
that's
she's
good.
coming along. And she's learned how to volley really well too. So
Yeah.
we play a lot of doubles. Our doubles matches are really important, and so they don't get to the net too often in Spain. So we had to give them a lot of practice with hitting at the net and volleying.
Both of you are playing your first year here at SUU. As the season opens, are you feeling a little bit of extra pressure, a little bit of extra nerves?
I'm definitely nervous, for the season. Like, it's always exciting when your season starts, This is my second year in college tennis, I think SUU is good. Like, I'm transferring up to D1, so it is a little bit more pressure than a D2. I like it, though. It's fun. I'm excited, and I think I'll do well. I think it's a good competition. Big Sky is good, so...
How would you describe your game? What are your strengths and weaknesses for your game?
I'm definitely a doubles player over a singles player. I prefer doubles. I like having someone on the court to play with. I do like singles though. It's fun. I've played it my whole life, so I'm used to it. Yeah.
How about you?
I'm more like a single. But like I'm getting used to doubles right now, so like I really like it. Like I got a lot of feelings with my partner right now than my first semester here. So I think we're more ready now than before. But like, yeah, I'm more like a singles person.
See, in doubles, they get to blame their partner, so that takes a little pressure off, right? Yeah. Okay.
Coach, taking a look at the roster, there's a couple of new people from last year. How are you hoping to incorporate them into singles, doubles? How are you hoping to organize them out on the court?
Well, this is one of our new people. How are we incorporating you in? You
Yeah, I'm playing both singles and doubles, it sounds like, so...
good? So she'll strengthen our lineup, definitely. And then we have a girl from America Samoa, which is a nice addition, Charity Sagiao. And she's a strong player. She's a freshman. But we look to her to play somewhere around the 6th position, and she's a good doubles player. Yeah, I think it's going to strengthen our team.
And she's made the adjustment with the altitude?
Yes, not the cold yet.
Yeah.
The altitude's okay. The cold she's having, although today she was in short sleeve shirts, and it was 37, 38 degrees out. So she's adjusting.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Anything else for these guys?
We have 22 matches this year. 7 of our last 9 matches will be at home. So that's that's a big plus for us. Of course, we have to wait until later March and April to play at home, but hopefully the snow will be off the courts by then.
Is that tough for you guys? You're going to be out on the road for a long time before you even play a match here in Cedar City?
Yeah, I like playing home, just because it's home court advantage. You have people from the school there supporting you, and so being away, it's kind of difficult playing, but it's fun because you get to go play on other courts, see other schools, and see their atmospheres. So I like traveling. I think it's fun. You get to see other places, but I definitely prefer playing on home courts.
Do you like to travel?
Yeah, I like to travel. But I think it's like traveling is always more nervous on you because I'm traveling. You think it should be it's more important than home because home is you feel home. It's a big difference. And also what she said is your friends coming to watch you and you have more support and stuff and it helps you a lot to get relaxed. Yeah, but it's more feeling home.
How did you end up here? Did you find SUU or did SUU find you?
I think it was both.
Yeah.
Because I think it was me, I was looking for university and then they just contact me here and they say I have an opportunity and I like it. I say let's go. It was my first time in the States too, so.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a big difference.
And her English is really good.
Thank you.
And her grades are even better.
Whoa.
So that's really impressive when you go to a different country and a different language and you're able to, keep it 3.8 or whatever it is. So that's pretty impressive.
That's great.
Thank you.
All right, anything else for this group? Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
Okay. Thank you. Nice going.